Copy our latest designs at cantork.com.
For 50 years, the Selby Group has been building trusted homes and strong communities. This year, we're celebrating that milestone with special events and anniversary promotions you won't want to miss. Discover Hillshire by Selby Group, beautifully designed homes in a community built for the way you live today. And coming this spring, move-in ready spec homes will be available. Your new home is waiting. Celebrate 50 years of Selby Group at Hillshire. Visit selvygroup.com or stop by Hillshire today.
Something's happening. Something big. The Service Big Share Contest is back, where just by saving money with Service Credit Union, you could win $1 million. From now until the end of April, the more money you save with us, the more chances you have to win. The Service Big Share Contest. Isn't it time to feel good about your money? The Service Big Share Contest ends April 30th, 2026. No purchase required. For information and rules, visit service.ca/win.
The Lowdown with Lowetide on Sports 1440. Author, musical connoisseur, sports know-it-all. Yes, a man for all seasons.
Presented by Wolf GMC Buick. We're making it easy. WolfGMCBuick.com.
Edmonton Oilers appear to be looking for the exit on the 2025-26 season and are floundering in the easiest pie, stretchy pants Pacific Division. And now, today, Connor McDavid left the ice at practice. We are awaiting an update. It could come at any time. Will this team go down with a whimper, or is there another way? That's the subject today. The Lowdown is brought to you by Wolf GMC Buick. It's Truck Month, featuring their best deals of the year. Ask about 0% financing plus extra discounts for Costco members. WolfGMCBuick.com. Okay, we're live on YouTube and on Sports 1440. Also online at iHeartRadio, sports1440.ca, and Radio Player Canada. After the show, it's Apple and Spotify podcast. We tweeted out on X. We're available on Twitter at Lowetide, at Declan Krueger, at JFenwick04, and Mac McClellan. And you can text or call anytime, 833-401-1440, 833-401-1440. Our guest today at 12:40 today, Rachel Krychak will join us from Betalytics to talk about the Leon Draisaitl. She knows German, so we're going to get the actual words and what he said in German. And then we're going to talk about Connor McDavid's possible injury and the Edmonton Oilers, who are playing like they're looking for the exits. That's all on the way. Jason Gregor will go over that and more with Jason. And, of course, there's going to be a lot of basketball talk after the wild March Madness that we saw last week and certainly on the weekend. It is time for the introductions. She is a great follow on Twitter for women's hockey highlights and slapbacks at the Kachuks. Ladies and gentlemen, it's Mackenzie McLennan. Mackenzie McLennan, how are you today?
Yeah, Wisconsin won the women's NCAA championship.
That was a great goal.
Yes.
I don't know whether you retweeted it or subtweeted it. I don't recall.
Probably retweeted.
Okay.
But
anyway, great play.
Caroline Harvey and Lila Edwards winning a gold medal and a NCAA championship in the span of 5 weeks is pretty insane.
That is. Did you go to the Oil Kings game, or did you just retweet that?
No, I was there.
How was it? Like, I know that they're winding down. They had a really good year.
Yeah, it was good. They honestly were kind of just dog walking Calgary. It was,
which is fun.
Yeah, it was good. Honestly, if I didn't check the standings, I wouldn't have even guessed that Calgary is in the playoffs with how they were playing. Ethan McKenzie, he was definitely the player to watch. He had his fingerprints over the entire game, and it was a good crowd. Good. As well.
They draw well. It's entertaining hockey, no doubt about it. He is the one person on this panel who joins me in a ridiculous amount of excitement because opening day baseball is almost here. Ladies and gentlemen, it's Josh Fenwick. Josh Fenwick.
Yeah, pretty amped up for opening day. Just have a tweet here from Jean Principe about Connor McDavid.
Yes.
Hips and groin stuff, all good. Post-practice from Connor.
Okay, beautiful. That's all we needed to know. Everybody can let out a deep breath and it'll all be fine. Okay. Ah, yes. Oh my God. Everything else has happened this year. Why not that? He remains in a March Madness euphoria after a wild and enjoyable tournament weekend. He also slammed all the cupboards doors because somebody took his favorite damn coffee cup. Ladies and gentlemen, it was almost like an oatmeal moment for Declan Krueger. Declan Krueger, everybody.
I mean, there's a lot to get into in this opening introduction. This is why I'm so happy we have the Declination segment for later. But first, like, the one thing I got to address is, like, I don't know if Duke was sitting with a heat pack on his ass or something, but this is the warmest chair I've ever
You've got to get a new chair.
I'm going to grab that one over there as soon as I get a chance.
I hate the grab ass warm chair. It's just the worst.
It's so uncomfortable. I don't even know what to do. I wouldn't say I was slamming the cupboards. I was opening them like kind of wildly because I was
having a hissy fit. You
were definitely slamming them. I was right there.
It
was pretty loud. Dean was giving you some interesting looks.
It was childish.
No, I was looking for my mug.
It was oatmeal moment again. You do have a little bit.
No, because oatmeal was whiny, complainy. This was a little bit more.
Can you agree that you have? Can you agree that you have big baby energy?
No.
Well, I'm sorry.
I can't believe you disrespect Glenn Davis like that.
Yeah, shout out Glenn Davis for. And then what was the last thing I wanted to say?
I don't know.
I'm sure we'll get into it.
Okay.
Oh, March Madness was awesome, though.
Right, there you go. Well, good news on McDavid. What did you say? It was just regular maintenance?
He said hips and groin stuff per Jean Principe.
Okay. So it sounds like that's okay. So McDavid will be, such an important part of the team anyway. But certainly with Leon Draisaitl down. I wrote about the Oilers today, and at the Athletic, and what happens when you watch a game like that is you're like, man, how far off their own pace are they? And the answer is a lot, and here's why. The Oilers are. Last year, they made the Stanley Cup final. They went 6 games. The year before, they went 7 games Stanley Cup final. You felt like they were so close, and now they're in the window. And this year, they have to say, look, they've had younger players, but they've taken such a step back. They don't cover well. They're not improving in important areas. Some of their best players are their young players. The rookies are not playing at a level that they should be. Or I'm sorry, the veterans are not playing it the way it should be. And the younger players like Matt Savoy, a guy like Bud Colson, and even Josh Szymanski, who's come in here, have played well. These are mistakes made by veteran players. I'll use Nuge and Ekholm behind the net on Saturday night, and that can't happen. And I think part of it is, and I wrote about it in the article, might be that they played so much hockey in the last 3 years. The problem is, even in the stretchy pants Pacific Division, this team has a chance to blow right through the bottom because both wildcard teams now are central teams. So guess what? When we're talking about the Edmonton Oilers now, all bets are off. If they go on this road trip and they say lose 2 in a row, and that's possible. I'm sorry, it's possible. I'm not making this up. This is a team that you can't trust to play well enough to win any game. And if they lose 2 games in a row, then I think that you absolutely are at a point now where we can talk about it's beyond panic time. This Edmonton Oilers team is on the road to Utah and Vegas. If they lose both of them, then this is real trouble. And it already is. Let's be honest here. But if they win those 2 games and then come back home and beat Anaheim and Seattle, different picture. These next 4 games are vital for the Edmonton Oilers. They have to get results, and it should not be this way. And you can blame the goaltending all you want, but the coverage has been awful. They always, for some reason, they allow guys behind the 2 defensemen like Carter has liver pills. And this is a big problem. It should be sorted out by now, and it's not. And if you look today at the new pairings, I just feel like this is a coach who's sort of looking at ways to improve the team, but I don't know if they're going to get there, right? Like the problem you have now, if you're the Edmonton Oilers, is you don't have any time at all. You really don't. You don't have we'll win 1, lose 1, whatever. And so today, Lazar was in for Podkolzin, so it was Lazar, Podkolzin, Savoy. McDavid obviously would be there. Nuge with Roslovic and Hyman. Dickinson with Szymanski and Kapanen. I like that line, by the way. Henrique with Jones and Järventie. The defense, Wallman, Bouchard, Nurse, Ekholm, Stastny, Murphy, Emberson on the outside. Now, I'll tell you why I don't like it. I think Stastny is a little bit overwhelmed right now. Maybe he'll work well with Murphy, but I don't like it a whole lot. Nurse Ekholm, I think, could work, and Wallman Bouchard, I think, could be work. But I would like to see, and everybody's going to get mad again, Nurse with Bouchard. I would like to see Wallman with Murphy, and I would like to see, I would like to see Nurse with Bouchard. I would like to see Ekholm with Murphy, and I would like to see Wallman with Emerson. I'd like to see that. I don't think we're going to. And by the way, the word is Tristan Jarry will start the next game on the road in Utah. Those are the stories. We can talk about it all day long. This is and I know we're going to talk March Madness, but this is the big story. McDavid is apparently fine via Gene Principe, and we trust him, and we like his hair. And so that's good news. But the bad news is the Edmonton Oilers aren't playing close to good enough hockey. And we saw it on the weekend. And if you're a little bit panicky, I recommend you ratchet it up. This is a team in trouble. Who wants to talk about the Oilers?
Yeah, well, I mean, you made a lot of like really apt points, obviously. I mean, I think the bigger overarching thing is you kind of made the point. I forget your exact verbiage, but you said something to the degree of like, you know, it's going to be time to panic. Like, I think the Oilers and Oilers fans should already be in a state of panic, not necessarily in the sense that they're going to miss the playoffs, not necessarily in the sense that, you know, they're going to have trouble in the Pacific. But like, my thing is where they're at now and what like the panic could be. It still seems to kind of cap out is what the panic is at right now. Like this team is in a cup window that is not going to win the Stanley Cup this year, right? Like it's panic in that sense. If you want to talk about things down line, that's one thing. But I'm just like in the grand kind of win. I'm having difficulty phrasing this, but in the grand kind of window that we exist in right now, like the panic already exists in the sense that this is a Stanley Cup. This is a team in a Stanley Cup window that's not going to win. And that's a really, really difficult spot to be.
And they didn't. The problem is they're not better. Like the defensive problems were here earlier and they're here later.
Yeah.
And that means other teams have figured it out and they haven't. And boy, do other teams know to pressure the defense because the Edmonton Oilers forwards refuse to help. They just do. And that's a problem. And it's a coaching problem. I'm sorry.
And like we talk about some of the lines and you said you like the Dickinson, Szymanski, Kapanen line.
Well, if Leon's not here,
right?
Yes.
Yeah. No, sure. Like, but my point is also like we're 71 games into the season, and we're talking about we like a Josh Szymanski, Jason Dickinson, Kasperi Kapanen line. Like, boy, I'm not sure if that's exactly a spot I want to be in.
Yeah, it's true. And they did have lines that were going well before the Florida game, and they abandoned it. This has been a weird year, I'm telling you, and it feels like there's I will say I don't have any information. But from the outside, it looks like this is a house divided in the coaching staff or in management or in ownership. Something is rippling through this organization, and I don't know what it is, but it is absolutely going to kill this season.
No, it's this like I don't want to put anybody on blast, but I don't know how many people are still kind of watching this team through the Oilers rose-colored glasses, thinking about the last 2 years where they were. First of all, like let's be very real. It's so hard to make 3 Stanley Cup finals in a row. Like that is incredibly, incredibly tough to do. But I just wonder how many people are kind of holding on to that and kind of holding on to what the team had done the past couple of years, ignoring what the reality of this season is.
I do think you're right. I think there is a sense of, well, they can flip a switch because they have in the past, but they're so disjointed.
No, it's bad.
And I was talking to Carius today and talking about Bouchard. I love Evan Bouchard's game, but I also believe he can play better defensively. And that's not like, I'm not saying he's not a great player. He is a great player. But there's another opportunity for him to be even a greater player, and that's coverage and awareness, and he has to improve in that way.
And can I add like another thing? Because I think another. Well, I mean, how about you answer that first, if I'm allowed to add another thing?
Sure, go ahead.
Because I think people point to like I don't know if you saw the stat Lowetide, but the cumulative goal differential for each division: Atlantic plus 104, Metro plus 38, Central plus 59, Pacific minus 201. Like historically terrible goal differential. And I think people point to that. People point to the Pacific and say, well, you know, like the Oilers, they're in the Pacific. We still have that going for us. But the Pacific has never been the issue. It's never been a worry of how is this team going to fare against the rest of the Pacific Division teams. Like I've always thought they're going to be a conference finals team. I think it might be fool's gold a little bit, but that's never been the issue. It's when you get to the real kind of top dogs, obviously out of the Central and then out of the East, if you are to make the Stanley Cup final. So I think that argument's a little just a touch moot because I've never worried about the Pacific anyway.
No.
I think there's a little bit in yours though, because the Canucks are like minus 78 in goal differential or whatever.
Yeah, I mean, you take
that
out,
that adds a lot, but yeah,
still like minus 123. There are two teams that are positive in the whole division.
It is the stretchy
no team
pants
would be a playoff
division.
team in the East.
It is a stretchy pants division. There's this is a bad division,
historically bad.
Yeah, and what I don't understand is, look, I know people say, well, they're not working hard enough. I think they're working maybe too hard. People will say they're not that bright. They're really smart. You have to be, in terms of hockey IQ and ability, you have to be absolutely top drawer to make the National Hockey League. So then what is it? Well, they've had some different coaching input as the year has gone by, and it hasn't gotten better with Paul Coffey when he arrived. Not blaming him, but it didn't get better. And so what I think is happening here is the Oilers are trying to play a game where, Ekholm being an example, where maybe you're trying to do too much. He goes behind the net. There's 3 players behind the net. They forgot about, the one guy in the National Hockey League you shouldn't leave alone in front of the net with the puck. And Kucherov does what everybody knew he'd do, drills the puck into the net. This problem for the Edmonton Oilers is, a little bit about talent, I think, because I still don't think they've got the goaltending solved. And Stastny struggles, and apparently he's in the lineup for tomorrow night based on practice. But I think a lot of this is that they have got to decide how they're going to defend and then do a better job of it. And that's all 5 players on the ice. And every team that plays the Edmonton Oilers, because Florida exposed them, knows which players are not willing to work hard without the puck. And they pay for it every time. And the defense gets yelled at, and the goaltending gets yelled at by the fans. But this is a team problem. 5 skaters on the ice, all 5 have to work together. And I haven't seen it all year, and it's a problem. Who hasn't talked about the Oilers? Who wants to talk about the Oilers?
While they figured out over there was a little bit of, back and forth. The other thing I would just kind of add is like how mentally taxing this has to be on guys like McDavid and Draisaitl, right? Like they carry the pressure, like they carry their legacy on their shoulders, McDavid especially. And to know you're in this window and things aren't working out, like that just has to add another level of like, like what are we doing here? You know what I mean? Like that. And I don't think that should go unpointed out.
Yeah, and I don't know whose fault it is, because I don't know. Like, this reeks of ownership getting involved in things from the Paul Coffey thing.
They're about to hire you,
and that's the problem when you start blaming other people. Anybody over there want to say anything?
Yeah, I thought like the first period was a really good defensive effort from Edmonton, and then it just kind of broke down as the game went on, and it kind of felt like McDavid was trying to do it on his own. And yes, that's worked in the past, but now teams have figured that out. So I think he needs to be able to adjust. And I really, really, really didn't like that Knobloch took Savoy off that first line. Mm-hmm. And that was him not trusting him. And I think you just, at this point, because Nuge, McDavid, and Hyman have struggled this year, you need to just put the faith in Savoy that he's going to be able to play those big minutes in a big game like that.
I will say that McDavid on the power play, he skates the puck into the zone. It turns over. That's fine. I mean, he's money in terms of possession in the zone. So once in a while, if it doesn't happen, that's okay. The problem was the defense once again allowed somebody, and Kucherov again, to get in behind. You can't blame the goalie on that, because that's a breakaway with one of the finest offensive players in the league in the last 10 years, including everybody. So if you want to watch the video, you can see the guy who should have been back waving at the puck as it goes by. And that's the problem the Edmonton Oilers have, and they got to fix it. Okay. On the way, Rachel Krychak will join us at 12:40. Jason Gregor at 1:20. We are going to talk March Madness. Declination is going to be Mama MMA / March Madness.
Yeah, like I just think I want to. I like holding it to kind of a schedule, but I think I just want to use it as a chance to talk about some things I want to talk about.
Okay,
you know what I mean?
Good.
Like
so it's just Declinations today.
Yeah, just
okay. All right. So on the way next is Rumors. Lowdown with Lowetide on Sports 1440 and YouTube.
At Fountain Tire, the
This game's no different. No time.
Shot by Bouchard. That was blocked. Rebound star. Vasilevsky never saw it. Evan Bouchard has given Edmonton a 1-0 lead.
The strong face-off win. Good block shot here. And the puck comes. Staff making sure they know. No fouls.
This is going to be Darling. He's got to go.
Darling puts it up. It's getting to the Sweet 16. The staff making sure they know. No fouls.
This is going to be Darling. He's got to go. And here we go. 8.9 to play. Sturts with the catch. Sturts bounce pass to the corner. Fulgaris for 3.
Oh! Florida's got no timeouts.
Takes the lead by 1. And a timeout called.
So I think the officials are checking the clock.
By the officials to make sure the clock is right.
Now the clock stops when the ball clears.
Hudson pitched along the boards by Manson. McMichael for Hudson. Good look. Strome and Ovechkin fires. Alex Ovechkin on the power play. 1,000 goals combined. Regular season and playoffs.
Breaking down the fine art of sports, one rep at a time. The Lowdown with Lowetide. Thanks for checking out Sports 1440.
Presented by Wolf GMC Buick. We're making it easy. WolfGMCBuick.com.
This is the Lowdown on Sports 1440, brought to you by Wolf GMC Buick. Monday, springtime, yes. Playoff time, maybe. It's time for rumors, brought to you by Great Canadian Solar. Great Canadian Solar has been helping homeowners and businesses harness the power of the sun for 15 years. Invest in solar and yourself. GreatCanadianSolar.com. And I know you're thinking, oh, come on, Lowetide, don't use hyperbole. There's just no chance the Edmonton Oilers miss the playoffs. In fact, they could win the division. Well, you know, it's a weird year in the Pacific, and I'm calling it the stretchy pants division because it's, you know, kind of easy to play in. You should be able to dominate if you're the Edmonton Oilers. Anaheim is 82 points, and that's 5 points more than Edmonton, and Anaheim has a game in hand. Now, they've got 12 games left. Edmonton has 11. There's still time, but that is a stretch. You know, that's you don't give up the division, but you need a hot streak, and you need a few more losses from Anaheim than we've seen this year. Vegas is in second place. They have the same number of games played as Edmonton, and they have 78 points. So Vegas, another disappointing team. Both of the wild card spots right now belong to teams not in the division. They're in the Central. That's a little bit of a surprise, but Utah and Nashville are there. And so LA is on the outside looking in. And if the Oilers were to slip past behind LA, they would be the problem too. Now, Los Angeles has one game in hand and is 4 points behind Edmonton. The Kraken are 6 points behind Edmonton, and they have 2 games in hand. So the Oilers, if they keep winning even, let's say in their last 11 games, they go 6-4-1, they should be home and dry. But they do have a road trip here and then another quick homestand at the end of the month that are very important. Those 4 games are vitally important to the Edmonton Oilers. And we're no longer, oh, hey, don't worry about it. They had a nice thing going during March until the last 2 games, and losing both of them, and especially the way they lost them, has to be viewed, I think, is extremely discouraging. Not just to the Edmonton Oilers players and the fans, but certainly to ownership. There's a lot on the line. Making the playoffs means a lot for this ownership group, and not that they're suffering. But by the same token, you've got to sell season tickets for next year, and this team just doesn't look impressive. This is one of the most depressing-looking Oilers teams I've ever seen because they have so much talent, and they are getting beaten by simple plays where you allow a forward past you with the puck on the way to them. And I'm not just talking about the shorthanded goal. It happened against Florida where everybody was jailbreak one way, and then the puck went past them, and it was a 2-on-1 the other way and resulted in a goal.
They're not going to have a problem selling season seats, though.
Well, you know what? Season seats are expensive.
No, hey, I hear you.
And, the product has to be good. And guess what? I mean, how many games have Edmonton Oilers fans gone to this year and saw a product that just doesn't look good enough?
Listen, you're making a great point. We can actually probably quantify that 17 times. That's how many losses they have at home this year, overtime included.
Right. And look, they've got fantastic players, and I love watching them, but they're not playing optimally. And you can't fire 23 players.
No.
And this summer, you don't have any draft picks to trade.
Nothing you're saying is wrong. But there is kind of the underlying thing that hockey mad market with 2 box office superstars.
Sure.
Like, you're going to put butts in seats for a lot. They were putting butts in seats when they were terrible.
So every game, every ticket is sold out. Every ticket is sold for every game this year to the Edmonton Oilers. Every ticket, not just season tickets, every ticket is sold out. They don't have any tickets left over.
Are you asking?
Yeah.
I'm sure they do. I actually have a question for you, though.
Okay.
To Uno reverse it. Do you think it's easier to sell, and this is going to kind of maybe sound like a weird question off the top, do you think it's easier to sell season seats or to sell tickets when, like in the decade of darkness, like, hey, you know what? The team is bad, but come out, support the team you love. You love them. You want to come watch them play hockey. Or do you think it's easier to do it now when it's like, hey, listen, we're really underachieving and that's not a lot of fun and everyone's kind of on edge about it, but we got these 2 superstars.
Look, Connor McDavid is worth every penny they pay.
Yeah.
I get that. I understand it. Still, this is highly frustrating for fans and for the team.
For sure.
And I do think that this is not going to be an easy offseason for the Edmonton Oilers. And they do have season ticket meetings, and that's going to be a grind. By the way, Ryan Rashog reporting, this is as of, a few minutes ago. McDavid today regarding his post-game comments on Cooper and Draisaitl's comments before the Olympics. He said, and I quote, "We're not taking shots. It's just everybody can be better, myself included. Everybody can be better. It was more just complimentary of a great team in this league that came in and played a good game. Nothing more than that. Not sure I was taken that way. Wasn't supposed to be that way, but I understand. Obviously, I understand how people would look at it, but it's not what I was intending to do at all." But here's the point. Even with that, and there's not a lot else he can say after it. The fact is that Tampa Bay comes in and plays a really strong game against the Edmonton Oilers because they've scouted them. And the Edmonton Oilers make no effort to make it more difficult for Tampa Bay to play against them by doing something different. There was a couple of plays in the first period, early on, where there was open ice in front of the slot in Edmonton's zone, and there was a clear passing lane, and they used it. But then inevitably, as happened, and as Mackenzie said when she was commenting earlier, the Oilers went away from that, and then after the first period, then they fall into some traps, and that's what happened. And then they also tried to do too much, which I think is one of the things that the top end, the Edmonton Oilers players can do, is maybe not try to do everybody else's job. And we saw that a little, I think, with McDavid on the power play, and I think we saw it a little bit with Matthias Ekholm and trying to help out his teammate and Ryan Nugent-Hopkins win a battle, and it ended up losing the war on that play. That said, I'm not going to back down on the season ticket thing. This Edmonton Oilers team charges a lot for the product that they sell, and it is a brilliant product. But they've given 2 years of Stanley Cup finals. They've taken a step back. I don't think it was necessary to take a step back. But before the end of the season, I think they have to show this fan base that they can play responsible hockey. They can suppress the other team, and that they're not going to send another pair of goaltenders to the goaltender glue factory, because that's what this is. Every day I came in here from October until he was traded, and people are like, get rid of Skinner, get anybody else. It doesn't matter. He's the worst goalie ever, can't play. Guess what? Not that much has changed since Stuart Skinner left. The Edmonton Oilers have to figure out a way not just to have a template that works playing defense, but then they have to be able to have the discipline to execute it. And that's everybody. I love Evan Bouchard. I think Evan Bouchard is one of the best defensemen who's ever played for the Edmonton Oilers. He's so damn good. But even Evan Bouchard could get better. He could get better in coverage. He could pay more attention to detail. He could not follow the puck around. And that goes for Darnell Nurse, for Matthias Ekholm, for everybody. And I think that discipline has been lost a little bit. And maybe it's because they played so many hockey games. And maybe the best thing for this organization is that they go out of the playoffs early, and then they have a summer to relax and rest and save up some energy for the following year. I will tell you, my greatest concern about this Edmonton Oilers team is that they do something really, really weird in the summertime. The worst thing they can do is split up the core group, the heart of the order. Not that they would move McDavid or Draisaitl or Bouchard, but the heart of the order that also includes Hyman and Ryan Nugent-Hopkins and these young players that are coming along like Podkolzin and Savoy, and I'm going to include Ty Emberson and even Josh Szymanski, who's not been here this long. This team isn't that far away, but I think that right now they look miles away because they're not disciplined. They're not disciplined without the puck. And I go back to the Florida play where McDavid has the puck. He's coming down the right side. Everything looks good. There's a puck that goes off somebody's stick or rattles off a skate. It comes around, and all of a sudden, it's a 2-on-1 the other way. That can happen. And the Kucherov goal, the one that came at the end of the power play, where it's an alley-oop to Kucherov, you've got to have the awareness. The guy's coming out of the penalty box. You have to have the awareness of a defenseman. That could be a play you have to monitor. The Oilers they're a team that made the Stanley Cup finals 2 years in a row, and they're making mistakes that you would not really like to see from a much younger team.
So Lowetide.
Why is there no accountability? Is the coaching staff not creating some kind of accountability for mistakes that are made? Or is it just, we don't have anybody else? Because it looks like all those plays are not punishable at all. Nobody says a boo. And I'm telling you, this team, I'm not lying to you, this team looks wrong. There's something wrong with this team. You saw it. They coming out of the last game, before the last two games against Florida and against Tampa Bay, it was there for them, man. If you had won even one of those two games, you'd be sitting pretty, and you could tell a story about being able to play defensively, structurally strong, and maybe you didn't win every game, but you had figured it out. You had some kind of an idea how to stop those ridiculous high-danger chances that are basically all breakaways or 2-on-1s. And what happens? It goes the other way. The coach changes the lines and pairings, and we are here. Maybe that's it. Maybe the lines and pairings are changed too much, and nobody knows who anybody else is. I'm sorry. What were you going to ask me?
No, I'm sorry. I thought you would finish. That's why I jumped in there.
Okay.
But
A lot of people never know when I'm finished.
No, apologies. The reason I, wanted to kind of jump in there, and we've actually got some text about it, is because when you were listening to the core, there was a glaring name omission. And I think when people think of the core of this team, they think of course, McDavid, Draisaitl, Bush, Hyman, Nuge. I think Darnell Nurse's name also often comes up in that core group because of the time he's been here, because he wears the A, because of the contract. You did not mention him when you talked about this core. In fact, you actually mentioned some younger players who are coming in to what they may be.
Right. Well,
I guess the point of this little spiel here is kind of, what does that all mean, and where does he fit in to the situation?
Well, if we read the tea leaves, twice in the last year, the Oilers have contemplated making a deal for Darnell Nurse. And I think that, as always, times change. I think Evan Bouchard's contract, we talked about this a long time before, unlikely they would be able to run with Nurse and Bouchard's contracts for too terribly long. And we talked at length about which one of the two would be traded. And I think that we even were not sure. And I think we are sure now. It's just a matter of time. There's an ease of his contract situation in 2027 summer, where he has to give a list of teams that he would be traded to. And they may approach him this summer. And so I don't think that he's part of the foundation group.
Wow.
Maybe I'm wrong.
Really?
Well, you don't contemplate trading Connor McDavid at the deadline.
Well, Connor McDavid's kind of in a tier of his own. I don't disagree necessarily, but I just think it's you cannot like him, but to not call him a core of this group seems
please understand, I like Darnell Nurse.
No, I didn't mean it like that.
I've defended him at great length, as a matter of fact, and had lots of people say lots of things. I just think that Stan Bowman's the new general manager, and once again, those new movement clauses make it very difficult to make moves. And according to reporting, twice in the last year, they've contemplated the idea, I guess, of approaching him. I don't know if they ever did. So that tells me I don't think you contemplate trading, somebody that you consider to be a part of a foundational piece of the future. I have said at length that you need to play Darnell Nurse with a puck mover. It worked with Troy Stetcher. I would play him. I said earlier in this show that I would play him with Evan Bouchard. And the fact that they aren't doing that tells me, once again, that the Oilers don't view him as a foundation piece. So this isn't me saying that. It's the Oilers saying it through their actions. Did we have a response?
No, listen. I get everything you're saying. I don't want to come across like I'm disagreeing necessarily.
No, but I just hey, listen. You know what, Nurse? People will say, well, look, he's this. They cost this much. He should be able to carry a pairing. But it's been shown that if he has an exceptional puck mover, then the scoring improves, and that's why I would move Ekholm down to a pairing with Murphy. And then I would move Wallman, who has struggled. My God, has he struggled? I would put him with Emberson. That would be my pairing. And that way, look, the Nurse Wallman hasn't worked. It worked a year ago. It hasn't worked this year. If you're trying to find situations that can work, I think Nurse Bouchard is the way to go. And I know nobody's going to believe me and nobody's going to agree with me. I don't care. I'm used to being an outlier. I've been that way my whole life. But if you look at the numbers, if you say who on this roster can play with Darnell Nurse successfully 5-on-5, it's Evan Bouchard. So you don't have Troy Stetcher because you lost him to waivers. He was the other guy. Well, maybe you try Emberson, but I'm telling you, Evan Bouchard with Nurse has worked in the past.
I love Evan Bouchard. You know me, I was pushing hard for him to be in the Norris conversation. That's a pairing that has boy, do you want to talk about high risk, high reward? But that's the pairing.
But unless you don't believe math, the pairing has, had success at 5-on-5. And it's because Bouchard is such an excellent passer out of the zone. And Nurse is not. And so that they complement each other pretty well. Now, look, am I saying it's perfect? No, I am not. But I'm saying you've got these players that you're looking for the optimal. You're looking to cut down on the number of chances that you give up per game. And these two have worked well together. Now, not in 10,000 minutes or anything like that. It's not like it's, been forever ago, but they played 303 minutes together in the last 3 years. That's a lot, 303 minutes. They have a 58% goal share and a 61% expected goal share at 5-on-5. And please understand that I know for a fact that Matthias Ekholm with Evan Bouchard is wildly successful. You think those numbers are good. When you get those two cats together, Ekholm and Bouchard, they're at 57% goal share and 59% expected goal share, which is in the range of Nurse and Bouchard, but it's in 3,200 minutes. They have far more of a roadmap of success. I get that. I understand. But we're talking about 7 defensemen and deploying them in the optimal way and making at least 2 pairings, ones you can trust. And Nurse Bouchard, unbelievably, is a pairing you can trust. We've got to go. We're talking to Rachel next. Lowdown with Lowetide on Sports 1440 and YouTube.
A craft beer connoisseur or more of a wine aficionado, there's always something new to discover at Sherbrooke Liquor, a unique family-owned independent liquor store. The selection, incredible. The non-alcohol section is also very impressive. Sherbrooke Liquor, expert, knowledgeable staff with a passion for unique finds. More than just a liquor store, we're a community. Alberta's best, the one and only Sherbrooke Liquor. Wine, spirits, and oodles of beer. Visit SherbrookeLiquor.com.
Booster Juice is going crazy for hazelnuts.
No, not crazy. Nuts.
Booster Juice is going bananas for hazelnuts.
I mean, there are bananas in smoothies, but that's not the point.
Banana juice is booster for hazelnuts.
What? Just stop.
Booster Juice is going nuts for hazelnut. Introducing the Nutty Monkey Smoothie, Holy Hazelnut Acai Bowl, and Nutty Booster Ball, all made with rich, creamy hazelnut spread. Try them today, only at Booster Juice. Canadian born, blending since 1999.
Come for Canada's largest trade shows, the biggest names in entertainment, exhilarating sporting events, and more. And stay for the experience at the Edmonton Expo Centre. Looking for the perfect place to host your next big event? From trade shows to galas, meetings, and concerts, the Edmonton Expo Centre has the space, event expertise, and service to make your next event unforgettable. With over 522,000 square feet of flexible event space, in-house catering, and operational expertise, they bring your biggest vision to life. Learn more at EdmontonExpoCenter.com today.
Do you sit around at work listening to sports radio all day? That's right, my friend. There's no shame in it. It's the good life. And we're not here to snitch. Say, if your company advertised on Sports 1440, you could be the one listening for your company's ad every day. Now you've got an excuse to listen to Sports 1440 all day. It's part of the job. Sounds like someone's getting a promotion. Email Gregor at sports1440.ca and let's get to work for you.
Hey, the Home and Garden Show returns to the Edmonton Expo Center this Thursday through Sunday. Know who's going to be there? Metal Supermarkets. Visit their booth and learn all about their huge selection of metal and metal processing. Those spring projects for your home, garage, and garden? Why go with wood when metal lasts forever? Plus, they'll be giving out free samples.
Tastes metally.
Yeah, on second thought, maybe not. Your local convenience stores for metalsupermarkets.com.
A relaxing day at the lake without a Toyota Tundra can be noisy. But when you get a Tundra at your local Toyota dealer, you can take advantage of up to 11,000 pounds of towing capacity to find a quieter spot. Ah, that's better. Lease a 2026 Tundra 4x4 double cab SR5 from $149 weekly for 60 months at 5.29% APR with $8,199 down. Visit shoptoyota.ca or your Prairie Toyota dealer today.
Here's the Lowdown with Lowetide on Sports 1440.
Presented by Wolf GMC Buick. We're making it easy. WolfGMCBuick.com.
This is the Lowdown on Sports 1440 for Wolf GMC Buick. It's Truck Month featuring their best deals of the year. Check them out, wolfgmcbuick.com. A lovely spring afternoon in Edmonton, and we are delighted to be joined by Rachel Krychak from Betalytics. How are you today?
I'm good, Lowetide. How are you?
I'm good, except I'm a little cranky about the Edmonton Oilers because they're How come that guy? It drives me nuts that this is a team that is a mature team, and the Kucherov first they let him pass because it's the coming out of the penalty box and nobody noticed him. Kucherov, can you imagine that? And then Ekholm tries to help Nuge and leaves him out in front of the net. How in bloody blue blazes can you let that guy loose twice?
Yeah, I'm not quite sure that was in the game plan that the coaches drew up. I'm not going to lie to you. I don't think there was a single game plan that a single Edmonton Oilers coach drew up that said, leave Nikita Kucherov unguarded. That's probably not what they had in mind.
Man, I tell you, that's and they're in the Pacific Division, the stretchy pants division, but that is like, I just think these two games are unforgivable for them to. Florida has taken everything you ever cherished away in the last 2 years, just absolutely dunked on you, and you don't play well against them. And then Tampa Bay, who looks like they're going to dunk on whoever they're playing in the finals this year, and they're able to do the same thing. I think it was a little bit embarrassing for the Oilers, or at least it should have been.
Yeah, I would think that they're probably not very happy with how the last, call it, few days has gone for them. You would think that you would come out with a little bit more oomph against the team that you've lost 2 straight finals to. And then Tampa Bay is, I mean, they're the best team in the East. Like, I'm not going to say they're the best team in the league because the Central Division exists.
Yeah.
But they're the best team in the East in terms of a team that is ready to go to annihilate in the playoffs.
So one of the reasons we bring you on is because you're really, really good at analytics, and everybody has them, but it's hard to read them, and you're excellent at that too. But you also apparently speak German. So I know from Oscar Klefbom interviews years ago where he didn't ask to be traded, but everybody said that he had done it in a Swedish newspaper. What exactly did Leon Draisaitl say about his injury in that interview?
Yeah, so it's actually my first language. So when I was watching Edmonton Oilers Twitter have a complete meltdown about that interview, and then I'm watching people translate, I'm like, no, that's not, please don't put that out there. And then it just caught wildfire. So a couple things. When Draisaitl or any German athlete, because Stützle does it too, when they're in Germany, they speak in German sporting terms. And one thing to know is in Germany, there is no such thing as the playoffs. That is a strictly North American thing. So when Leon Draisaitl was speaking with Sky Sports, which is the biggest one, it is the biggest sporting sort of arm in Germany. It's the one that has the Bayern Munich rights, the World Cup rights, like that's the one. He picks his words a little differently. One, he's a lot more open because he knows that the German media is not going to pick his words apart the way that the Edmonton Oilers media does. So he said that the reason he's there is to get treatment, and that's from the doctor that people like Usain Bolt and Tom Brady have seen. So this guy knows what he's doing. And the hope, and he used the word hope like 4 separate times, is that he would be ready if the Edmonton Oilers made the playoffs. Now, instead of saying the playoffs, because nobody in Germany actually uses that word, he said the next round. So he's hopeful that this treatment, and is hoping that that treatment works so that he can play when the Edmonton Oilers get to the next round, which is not the second round of the playoffs. The next round is the actual playoffs. And the key part that everyone should be taking away from that is he hopes that they get there, which means he is not exactly confident that the Edmonton Oilers are a playoff team. That's probably what should concern everybody is if he's going on German national television at the Bayern Munich game, which gets millions of eyeballs a week, and saying that he's not confident the Oilers are going to make the playoffs, and he hopes that the Oilers play long enough for him to be back, which would match the timeline of his MCL sprain that we all believe he has, and that is one of the injuries that particular doctor is an expert in dealing with. Nobody need to panic. I would say that he was likely, based on the direct translation, talking about the Oilers making the playoffs, and the hope being that he gets to play in those playoffs.
Well, that tells me Leon's a pretty good analyst because they're in the Pacific Division, and right now, as I read it, both wild cards are going to belong to the Central, and so Edmonton is I'm not saying Anaheim's out of sight, and Vegas certainly is not, but in a what has turned into a turtle race for second and third place, they've really got to get it together here, and they just don't look good. Are they? Do you think they're exhausted, or is this a coaching issue? The coverage, I think, has been poor for some time now, and they've been able to outscore it, but they're not tightening up like they did a year ago. As they got closer to the playoffs, I feel, as I remember, they were tightening up a little bit by now.
Yeah, I would have some concerns had this not been described as a pillow fight between teams by Connor McDavid, which is a pretty apt description of what this division is. It is, if we're being honest, it is a complete joke. Every other division has a positive goal differential, and the Pacific Division is sitting at minus 200. That is absolutely ridiculous. And I'm sorry, but I'm like, that's not a real division this year. And one of those teams, unless Utah beats them out, which is honestly not off the table, is going to make the conference final, and they're going to be walking around with their chests buffed out saying, oh, we made the conference final. And like, yeah, sure, in that division, like, that's not exactly an accomplishment at this point. But with the Oilers, like, listen, the Oilers have always been a team that is as far as Draisaitl and McDavid can take them. And you need the two-headed monster for that to even remotely be a possibility, because the team around him is just simply not good enough. And without Draisaitl, like, McDavid cannot take a lottery team. Like, if we're being very honest here, the Oilers are a lottery team without those two players. They absolutely are. And so I look at this and they're not tightening up, but yeah, are they looser than they were last year? Yes. Are they looser than am I surprised? Not really. I mean, Connor McDavid said it himself. Like, they're not as organized as John Cooper's team. They're, dare I say, not as organized as Jared Bednar's team or John Hines' team or like any number of other teams, Rod Brindamore's team. Like, it's just not the same. And that's concerning. And that would be a 5-fire alarm in the offices of Rogers Place if that were me.
Rachel Krychak, our guest from Betalytics on Sports 1440 and YouTube. You mentioned McDavid and his comments about John Cooper. He's a lot of people took it as criticism of the Oilers coaching staff. He's come out today and said that wasn't his intent. He was just complimenting another team's staff. But I think that the die is cast. The statement has been made, and I no matter whether he meant it or not, he did shine a light on a problem area. So is that fair? The assessment that they aren't close, and then secondly, and I don't know the answer to this. If they instituted a new program, a tighter 5-man unit with everybody on the ice, I know Craig McTavish did it in the 3 or 4 days in 2006 after the end of the season before they played Detroit, and they absolutely clogged the neutral zone effectively, and did it for the entire series and shocked the Red Wings in Yzerman's last year. How long does it take to implement just an absolute shutdown, button down defensive system if everybody is committed to it?
Yeah. Do I think it was a complete shot at the coaching staff? I don't think so. I tend to believe McDavid here, but I also think he's not just complimenting John Cooper. We're talking about a coach that he just played for in Milan. So it's not like he's seeing things from afar. That guy just spent a month with John Cooper, understands how it works, understands how he functions, understands what John Cooper says and does and how he prepares his team. And now he is not playing for John Cooper, and that is his stance on it. And if you look at it, yes, Canada did not win at the Olympics, but it's not like they weren't well organized. right? And Tampa Bay is also a very well organized team. And yeah, the Oilers are not well organized at all by any stretch of the imagination. And now, these are all excellent hockey players. We're talking about the top 0.1%, probably 0.01% of hockey players on the planet. And so, if there was enough dedication and buy-in is critical, and that's the difference between John Cooper and a lot of other coaches, is John Cooper gets buy-in when other coaches don't. If Chris Knobloch had an idea to play that lockdown system and he wanted to institute it in 6 days between the start of the playoffs and the end of the regular season, if he could get everybody on board, they are all absolutely capable of instituting that and playing Jacques Lemaire style hockey. Is that going to be entertaining? No. Is it going to work? Maybe. It's worth a shot at this point because, I mean, we're kind of getting into the definition of insanity now with the Oilers where, like, it's just not working. And so at that point, if he tries to institute Jacques Lemaire hockey and they don't manage to play that in the same way that, like, I guarantee you the defensive, like, structure wasn't to leave Nikita Kucherov alone, then that's on the players. That's not on the coaches. And yeah, maybe the coaches aren't good enough to get their guys to do that. But at the same time, all of you know how to play defense. Like, you all learned how to play it in U8 and U10. Like, there's no excuse. And do you want to win a Stanley Cup or not? And I would think that they would be able to get it together enough to be able to play that well enough. But I mean, you never know. And I think that there probably does need to be an evaluation in the offseason about not only if there's good enough buy-in, but are these the kind of players that can get you over the hump?
So I have 3 more questions. I only have time for one. So I'm going to ask you the Matthews question.
I can do them quick, Lowetide. Okay. I will rapid fire them for you.
Right. Matthews, Toronto, apparently there's insiders saying maybe he's thinking about, moving on. Any truth of that? Do you think it's going to be a Hughes level summer story this summer in Toronto the way it was in Vancouver?
I do not. I think that insiders specifically in Toronto need something to talk about. The Toronto Maple Leafs are the gasoline on the fire that continues to give them content, so they'll use it.
Did you have Nashville as a playoff team at any point this season?
Absolutely not. That is the wackiest, most bonkers thing. That's superseding the Sabres right now as things I did not have on the bingo card.
I'm just stunned by them doing, and I'm good for them, but man. And then finally, Mika Zibanejad, I've always loved watching him no matter what city he was playing in his 1,000th game. I know that I read a thing once where he was a DJ in Manhattan in his off hours. He's just a funky guy. I love watching him. It just feels like he should be more famous based on his personality and how good a player he is.
Yeah, I'm actually going to the game tonight because Zibanejad is my favorite Ranger. And I was not going to miss an opportunity to see him play. I went last night as well. He's been one of my favorites to watch for a very long time. I think he's criminally underrated on the power play. I mean, he's been the Rangers' #1 center for God knows how long now. And he's now carrying a line that features Alexis Lafreniere and rookie Gabe Perreault. And I mean, that is by far the Rangers' best line since Gabe Perreault has come up and that line has been put together. And I mean, he's just kind of somewhat of an enigma. And I really think that when we talk about the desire to have players show off their personalities and the want to see a look in, that's what we're talking about. We don't want to see the cocky nonsense and the boisterous stuff that comes with, the Americans winning the Olympics. What we do want to hear about is a dude moonlighting as a DJ in Manhattan in his off time while also being a first-line center in the NHL. That's the stuff that we care about, that we want to see. That's the personality we're talking about. So, I mean, kudos to him. Very happy for him. It's 1,000th game against the team that drafted him. Like, you can't really write a better story than that. And I'm happy the Rangers are doing the ceremony tonight so that both teams can take part in it, because I think that's important too.
It is indeed. Thank you, Rachel. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
There you go. Rachel Krychak talking on a wide range of things, including Leon and what he actually said. Nathan said, we were talking about McDavid and Draisaitl being out of the lineup. He said, take 210 points out of anybody's lineup. They're a lottery team. Happens to be two guys in Edmonton, but it's more than that. Here's the thing. At 5-on-5, McDavid and Draisaitl play against the league's best. So the players who aren't on lines with them, they're playing in the third and fourth lines opposition. But when McDavid and Draisaitl are on the ice together this year at 5-on-5, they have a goal share of 61%. When it's just McDavid, it's 53%. When it's just Draisaitl, it's 57%. When they're off the ice and Oilers players are playing against other third and fourth line players, secondary players, bottom six players, the Oilers are at 43% goal share. So it is fair to say that without them, they're an expansion level. Not because those third and fourth lines are going out and getting eaten alive by the elite players, but because they're not. They're playing against players who are assigned the things to do that they are in line with what they're doing, and they're not succeeding. They are losing 57% to 43% when the third and fourth lines are out there. It's expansion level, folks. It just is. Okay. On the way in hour number 2, Jason Gregor will join us. We'll talk about Connor McDavid and what's going on there. Leon Draisaitl, what a weekend it's been for the Edmonton Oilers and what they have to do to put things together very quickly if they're going to be in the playoffs and go anywhere in those said playoffs. Lowdown with Lowetide on Sports 1440 and YouTube. It's time for an update with Declan Krueger.
Brought to you by Custom Floors Inc. Floors Done Right, Homes and Businesses. New showrooms at 11577 149th Street. It's open 6 days a week. It has Saturday hours from 10 to 2. And you can also visit customfloorsinc.ca and bring your next flooring project to life. Edmonton Oilers news as Connor McDavid did leave practice with trainers. Updates still to come. No injury expected per Gene Principe. Toronto Blue Jays extending GM Ross Atkins on a 5-year deal. Bench manager John Snyder extended on a 2-year deal, and Seahawks have reached a record extension with star wide receiver Jackson Smith-Njigba, 4 years, $166 million. In the National Hockey League, there'll just be one game today, Ottawa and New York, with a 5:30 puck drop. And in the NBA, action gets going at 5 o'clock with the LA Lakers and Detroit Pistons, Pacers, and Magic, Oklahoma City Thunder and Philadelphia 76ers, and Spurs and Miami Heat. The late games in the league tonight will see the Brooklyn Nets in Portland taking on the Trailblazers and the Milwaukee Bucks in LA taking on the Clippers. I'm Declan Krueger. This has been a Sports 1440 update.
The Lowdown with Lowetide on Sports 1440. Can you fit Sports Encyclopedia on a business card?
Presented by Wolf GMC Buick. We're making it easy. WolfGMCBuick.com.
It's a little after 1 o'clock. This is the Lowdown, brought to you by Wolf GMC Buick. It's Truck Month, featuring their best deals of the year. Ask about 0% financing plus extra discounts for Costco members. WolfGMCBuick.com. That was interesting. The Leon Draisaitl translation from Rachel, and what the little nuance there about him saying he'd be ready for the next segment. And that means playoffs, but there was a little, lost in translation, which happened. I remember Oscar Kleppbaum had said something that was just innocuous, and it blew up. There was articles everywhere. Kleppbaum, he didn't want to trade. It is the great thing about hockey is that it's a sport across the Northern Hemisphere that everybody gets involved in. Everybody is brilliant at. And I love that they play in a central league like the NHL. It's much better than, when I was a kid, there was one American player. And then you'd have guys like Stan Mikita, who was born in Czechoslovakia, or Walt Kachuk. But they grew up in Canada. Ken Hodge was born in England, as an example. They're all Canadians, basically. Much better now with the different styles of play and the brilliant, the NHL without Kucherov would be less of an NHL. I think everybody knows that. It's a brilliant, brilliant bunch of players who come over here, the cream of the crop, and man, do they make it more exciting. Sean says, so Al, if the owners are bad without the Glimmer twins, and I do agree that is the case, at what point do we start putting it on management? From Sean. Well, Sean, I think my view is a little different than most. I was not in favor of trading Stuart Skinner because I said he's a unrestricted free agent. You have, several UFAs, and then maybe just audition them and play them until the end of the year. The Oilers didn't go that way. They wanted to get a goaltender who was under contract, and they traded for Tristan Jarry, and that's fine. I think their better goaltender is the guy they got for nothing from Utah, and they don't have him signed. So I can criticize Stan Bowman for getting Tristan Jarry when Connor Ingram was available to them beforehand and they didn't bring him up for Bakersfield. I think that's a misstep, but I also have to give him credit for acquiring Connor Ingram, who has been a big part of this team. I also think that at some level you do have to look at the coach, although I don't think the coach is going to get fired. If they miss the playoffs, then there's going to be a house cleaning, but I think they'll make the playoffs. Maybe they win a round. And there's going to be some changes. But one of the things that happened this year, and I know there's a disconnect. I know there is. I don't know what it is, and I don't know where it came from. But one of the things that did happen was at the end of the year, there are ways that you find out things in a city like Edmonton about which way the wind blew. And there was some criticism of Paul Coffey about how the defense was handled in the Stanley Cup final. Now he goes away. Chris Knobloch hires his staff, and he, brings Stewart up to have a more fundamental role in the defense. They hire McFarland. They do other little tweaks. They're locked and loaded with what everybody agrees earned opportunity for Chris Knobloch after 2 years, taking them Stanley Cup final. That's part of his resume. It doesn't go away. He's a smart guy. So it doesn't work. They don't go on. They always go on a long winning streak. They didn't get to 3 games in a row forever. 3 wins in a row forever, and they only done it once. It's a different kind of year. So, and I think it was the owner, but I don't have confirmation of that. Airlift Coffee back into the situation, and it's not better. So, is it a house divided? Is it an uneasy relationship? And how does the owner take care of that in the offseason? So, all of those things are true, but the issue is, if it was the owner who put Paul Coffey into the coaching staff, how in HE double hockey sticks do you blame management for that? And if it wasn't the owner who did it, then why in HE double hockey sticks would Stan Bowman do that after in the summertime agreeing that Chris Knobloch could cobble together a staff as he saw fit? I don't have those answers, but I think they are good questions. You would never get that from an organization. You'd never get the answer. Maybe Knob should have done a better job of hiding his top line, or maybe his top players should have committed to 200 feet like their depth players did. Propane Pimp. Yeah, I got to say, the other night, Jake Wallman just decides he's Bobby Orr and he skates the puck out in front of the net like, I don't know what the hell he was thinking. He gets pressured, and it was McDavid there to save him. Not every play that is a goal against when McDavid shift is because of McDavid. That play where he's skating into the zone and he turns the puck over, it didn't have to end up in a breakaway for Kucherov. It didn't. The one result doesn't mean the other result is necessary. So I understand people are mad about, Connor McDavid for whatever reason. But man, you've got such a gifted, like, three players who are just so gifted, and you've got the Jackson aces and kings, and you can't get the 6s and 7s and 9s. That is just really horrific. And if they miss the playoffs, I don't know who's going to be in charge, but the heads will roll, as it were. And I still think they have to figure out the goaltending. But as part of the goaltending, you have to figure out a defensive structure they can play and that works. Because we all agree that Florida and Tampa Bay have defensive structures that work, right? And Carolina does. Everybody mocks Rod Brind'Amour. He won't play anybody more than 16 minutes. Okay. They seem to have defensive structure, though. They seem to have awareness. And the Oilers do too. They just haven't this year. They've been way better locked down than they have been this year. You look at Darnell Nurse last year during the regular season. He played well. This year, it is just it's a tire fire. And I don't have your answer. But I do know that structurally speaking, this team is just not getting it done. There's not the awareness that you need them to have. And guys are getting in behind. They're pinching too much. There's a lot wrong right now for the Edmonton Oilers. And maybe they're just hearing too many words from too many different people. I don't know. That clip should be going viral. No one else has that translation info from Tiger. Well, I don't know how many people, honestly, in Canadian media speak German. I know the words, Schweinhund, several others, but thank you, schnell, I watched Hogan's Heroes, but I don't know all of the words. And I think Josh does, but he's not sharing.
What about Josh?
What about Josh?
I don't know. You said I probably know something, but I wouldn't share. I'm trying to teach over here, Al. I couldn't listen.
Oh my God.
I'm not going to lie. That was a bad time to bring up Josh for the first time today. Probably the worst time because he was deep in teacher mode over there.
Oh, well, I know, but I just said you'd probably speak German and aren't telling us.
Oh, no. I did go to an elementary school that had a German class. However, we were not very kind to them and they were not very kind to us.
Residual of the whole.
Sort of. They beat us at soccer at recess,
yeah.
But we beat them.
Yeah, they did.
But we beat them at football.
Yep. That all sounds about right.
Yeah.
So I think that's fair, we had a choice of a German or bookkeeping when I was in school. Not French, German.
Planning ahead. I got a question for you based on one of the conversations that we kind of had earlier.
Yes.
It was brought up how many teams could lose their two best players and still be a playoff, or I guess it was phrased, which team wouldn't be a lottery team, right?
Right.
My thing, and I was trying to think of it, and maybe the reality is there isn't any, but the first team that came to my mind was actually Carolina. because of their defensive structure, because of their lack of stars, and just the way, Rod Brindamore spreads out the ice time. Like, I don't know if they still would, but that was the first team I thought.
And that's a good point. I mean, they're like they're not interchangeable, but they kind of are.
Who are their two best players? Aho and Slavin?
I would say Slavin. Yeah,
like, he's such a good defensive D man.
But they've got if those guys aren't it, they've got like six others you could name.
That's kind of my point, right?
Yeah. It's a good point, and it's. I just don't know if they're going to win anything. Why can't we give Picard another shot? Well, he's playing better down there, maybe. Defensive structure that works. They have virtually the same defense the last 2 seasons, other than 5-7. Brought Coffey back. What gives there, Sean? Well, I mean, I'm on the air, so I can't pull it up, quickly or anything. But my recall of last year's team during the regular season was they were a little tighter than this. And, I mean, I'm old, so the memory is I'm going to use 5-on-5 because that's what I like to use. What am I doing? Teams. But I recall them being a lot tighter last year in terms of 5-on-5 play than they are this year. And let's just do a really quick look at what their goal share was. Can somebody remember these as I tell you?
All up here.
Okay. 24-25 Edmonton Oilers at 5-on-5 had 2.48 goals for per 60 and 2.52 goals against per 60, which is basically 50%. Okay.
Was it 2.58?
No, 2.48 to 2.52.
Okay.
And then this year's team, which has been, I mean, he's right. There've been a lot of the same personnel. This year's team has 2.56 goals for and 2.87 goals against. So they're giving up more goals at 5-on-5. And, it doesn't sound significant, but 2.87 to 2.52 is a lot. And I think they need to tighten it up, and they haven't been able to. And everybody blames the goaltender, but look what they've done with the goaltending. Look what they've done to my baby. That's Godfather, I think. This Edmonton Oilers team traded a lot of assets, a lot of gold, a lot of silver, a lot of draft picks, and players who are now playing in other cities and playing well in order to get Tristan Jarry. And you can blame Jarry all you want, but this is 6 degrees of, oh my God, nobody can play in front of this defense successfully. And it's worse now than it was, or at least it seems as though. But the idea is to get better. And I'm telling you, I've said this before, but Craig McTavish, in like a heartbeat, after the regular season in 2006 and before they played Detroit, he said, all right, we're gonna play this suppression style. And he clogged up the neutral zone, and nobody had seen it, and nobody had seen the Oilers do it. And I'm telling you, the last 2 years, everybody knows what the Edmonton Oilers are going to do. Everybody. So stop doing that and do something else. Tweak, wrinkles. It works. Hell, Todd McLennan, when he was in San Jose, they had the weirdest system. Everything would funnel down the wall and over to Dan Boyle, and Dan Boyle would pass or carry the puck out. It was the damnedest thing, but it worked because it was unusual. And then when it stopped working, they tried something else. By the way, would you be open to how much basketball are you going to talk about at one?
A little bit, like a little bit. I want to talk a little Oil. I want to talk a little Kucherov. Yeah, a little bit for sure.
Okay, well then maybe we can do a little bit of college basketball in the next segment along with Oiler Talk because.
Well, hold on. Next segment is Jason.
Oh.
So
can you believe that I forgot Jason Gregor?
Listen, do what you want, but
no, I definitely am going to have Jason on. I want to talk to him about that Oilers game because it like maybe I'm the only one who nobody else was frustrated by the Oilers on Saturday night. I was,
of course, but it's like I've come to expect it. It's 71 games in, and they're like 34 and 39 or something. Like
something's got to give, man.
Yeah, 34 and
37. Well, it's somebody has to play defense. All right, on the way, Jason Gregor, Lowdown with Lowetide on Sports 1440 and YouTube.
At Fountain Tire, the savings come in threes. Up to 25% off select tires, a mail-in rebate of up to $100 off a set of 4 select tires, and $50 off $150 service. We're basically the BLT of savings until April 25th. Restrictions apply. Book today.
24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Edmonton sports fans stay informed with Sports 1440. Stream us. Listen to us on the AM dial. However you consume this radio station, thanks for listening.
Five-time Junior Hockey League champions, the Spruce Grove Saints, are excited to be back on the ice at the brand new Thompson Family Arena. Be part of the action and enjoy some of the best junior hockey Canada has to offer by experiencing a Saints game for your next outing. Tickets range from $10 to $17 with free parking and some of the best food and drink specials in town. For more information on tickets and how you can become a partner, go to sgsaints.ca.
Business owners, if rising electricity costs are cutting into your profits, there's a smarter way forward. Right now, federal clean technology tax credits can cover 30 to over 50% of the cost of a commercial solar system, delivering an immediate return on your investment. And in Edmonton and Sturgeon County, the Commercial Clean Energy Improvement Program offers long-term financing for up to 20 years, making solar more affordable than ever. Lock in lower energy costs for decades and strengthen your bottom line. Visit GreatCanadianSolar.com to get started.
Hi, Mike here from Northgate Chevrolet Buick GMC. We're the #1 dealer in the world. Just kidding. If we were, would you care? We're the #1 dealer in Canada. Still kidding. You probably still don't care. Tell you what you will care about, our March Madness sale going on right now. Discounts up to $30,000. And the grand opening of our Autoplex, a massive indoor showroom. No self-proclaimed titles, no iPads, no trips to Vegas or hockey jerseys, just a really good deal. Stop in and see us today, 13215 97th Street, or visit us online at northgategm.com.
You're in Northgate country. At GS Construction, every winter plan becomes a spring project. Every repaired line and every improved system is how we build the next chapter of Edmonton's infrastructure. And we can't do that without the best and the brightest in the field. That's why right now, GS Construction is looking to hire experienced top men, pipe layers, and operators who can step in and hit the ground running. With a people-first mentality, career growth, and comprehensive benefits, why would you want to work anywhere else? To apply, visit gsconstruction.ca.
Hey, the Home and Garden Show returns to the Edmonton Expos Center this Thursday through Sunday. Know who's going to be there? Metal Supermarkets. Visit their booth and learn all about their huge selection of metal and metal processing. Those spring projects for your home, garage, and garden? Why go with wood when metal lasts forever? Plus, they'll be giving out free samples.
Tastes mentally.
Yeah, on second thought, maybe not. Your local convenience stores for metalsupermarkets.com. For over 60 years, the folks at Diablo Boots have been selling the best Canadian-made boots. Handcrafted in Winnipeg, Canada West makes the best quality cowboy, biker, and work boots for Diablo Boots with replaceable soles and heels. Why buy cheaper quality like Ariat, Justin, and Red Wing made in China when Canadian-made is better? Support Canada's workers and Diablo Boots for the best boots. So save on boots by Save On Foods. That's Diablo Boots, 3340 Gateway Boulevard on the east side of Save On Foods. Canada West and Diablo Boots, the two best names in the boots business.
Here's the Lowdown with Lowetide on Sports 1440.
Presented by Wolf GMC Buick. We're making it easy. WolfGMCBuick.com.
It's the Lowdown on Sports 1440, brought to you by Wolf GMC Buick. It's Truck Month. Check it out. WolfGMCBuick.com. It's 21 minutes after 1 o'clock. We're joined by Jason Krueger, who'll be live on the radio at 2 o'clock today. Jason, how was your weekend?
It was pretty good, Al. Nice. Kind of relaxing. No coaching, no hockey. For the first time in 6 months, so it's kind of nice.
Yeah, there you go. A little bit of breathing space, right? You know? For the Edmonton Oilers fans, Connor McDavid left practice today after about 10 minutes. Lazar at center for a time. And we had word from Gene that it was just, maintenance kind of thing. But it once again sent everybody into a little bit of a frenzy, as one would imagine, with Leon Draisaitl out. Losing Connor McDavid as well would have been a big deal.
Yeah, see, that is just maintenance more than anything, my understanding. So he's obviously going to play. He spoke to the media afterwards. If it was anything kind of serious, I doubt he would have spoke. So Oilers Nation can exhale. He'll be fine.
He also said some complimentary things about John Cooper, the Tampa Bay Lightning on Saturday after the game. Lightning played very well, and that was taken as a criticism or of the Oilers and maybe of the coaching staff. He talked after practice today about that as well.
Yeah, I actually wrote an article today at Oilers Nation that was up, and I was there. I was the one who asked the question. I didn't really take it as a knock against his team. I can understand maybe how some people would have thought, hey, you know what he's saying, look how they're playing. And I really thought there was a little bit of frustration about his own game undermined there, because that was one of the rare games, Al, where the Oilers' top line and top defense were their weakest lines on the ice. Every other player had a 60% shot share except those five. So it was really when they were on the ice, Tampa Bay was good. When they were off the ice, Edmonton was good, and that's rare. That doesn't happen very often in Edmonton, but that's what happened in that game. And you can't say, well, he's playing all against Kucherov. Yeah, he played about 7 minutes against Kucherov, but so did Nurse, and Connor Murphy played about 6 and a bit, and they actually outshot him, and they didn't get scored on. And that's why a little surprised when I see the D pairs changing. My God, leave Nurse and Murphy alone. There should be zero reason to switch them up right now. Zero, none. It was one game for Bouchard and Ekholm. Like, what are we doing? So I think the criticism for Knobloch could be, why the hell are you changing lines at certain times? Why are you practicing with Murphy and Nurse not together after they had an excellent game together? It doesn't make sense.
Well, and the thing about, like, I would argue with you. I'd argue back that Nurse Wallman should take a try, but Wallman has not been close to good enough.
Yeah, Wallman's a third pair defenseman right now, so why I'm not playing with Nurse. And if I play Wallman with Nurse, Al, then I've got two righties playing together. Well, that doesn't make sense. So there's zero reason why I would play Nurse with Wallman. They've got three right shot defensemen in Bouchard, Murphy, and Emerson, and they got three lefties. Right, Stastny's not one of their top defense, so he's out. So Wallman plays on the left side. He stays on the left side. He's a third pair D-man until he plays any better. Zero reason. Like, I know he was practicing with Bouchard today, but I'm not really sure why I would do that unless Ty Emberson is nicked up and I don't feel he's ready to go. But even then, I would just, the way Jake Wallman's playing right now, he's in your third pair.
Yeah, he made a play on, I think it was in the Florida game. I sometimes get them mixed up, but he comes out in front of his net, and McDavid saved his ass. I mean, I don't know what he was thinking about, and he didn't comes out in front of his net, kind of stalls a little bit. The puck gets turned over, and I mean, Wallman, when he's playing well, he's an asset. He's got a great shot, but right now, putting him on, like, the minutes he would have to play with Bouchard, I think he'd get caved.
No, well, there's no reason to do it. And the other thing is, you talk about that play. Like, I really wonder where Wallman's conditioning and overall health is, because that's one of his best plays. He'll come out of the net and he's got a great burst and he pulls away. Remember when he first got acquired? He'd do it all the time. People are like, wow, look at this guy. Haven't seen that this year. And so I wonder, to me, I don't think you just lose it. I got to think that, conditioning from a lack of training and whatever is playing a factor. But right now, for me, it's not even a debate. Jake Wallman's in my third pair until there's an injury or suddenly he plays 5 or 6 really good games.
Jason Gregor, our guest, he'll be live on the radio at 2:00 today. What's your take on Szymanski? He was playing center the other night. I thought he did a really good job. It's like they can put him anywhere. I'm not saying he's going to score 50 goals or anything, but he's a responsible player, and the coach can rely on him.
Yeah, very responsible. His numbers are pretty good. He doesn't bring you a ton of offense, although he did score his first goal, probably one of the most fortuitous first goals ever, put in by their own Tampa Bay guy, bounce over top of Vasilevsky. I haven't seen a goal like that in a long time. And so, maybe that gives him some confidence offensively. Who knows? Defensively, he's been very good. I have no complaints about him. But when you have Jason Dickinson, like, once Draisaitl's back, Dickinson's your number 3. So Szymanski's either going to play the wing, or maybe he's a fourth line center. But he's very responsible. I know that Curtis Lazar is eligible to come off LTIR, and he's ready. So he'll be eligible to play in the lineup on Saturday, which I think will help him because it gives him a right shot guy to take some face-offs at certain times, which is nice. And with Frederick out, they need another right shot anyway. So I think you'll see Lazar on Saturday for sure. That's the earliest he can come in, but. Yeah, Szymanski's, he's looked fine. He doesn't play like a rookie defensively, and that's rare.
One of the things that I thought, I knew the Oilers would get younger, and I think that Savoy and certain Podkolzin, although he's a little bit older, they have played well. I'm liking Emerson's game. He's coming along. Szymanski is, I mean, I don't know what level he would play at, but he's played well enough to maybe project into the year. But this team, in terms of structure defensively, there was a problem. There was a worry. Paul Coffey comes in. Is it better with Coffey, or is that unfair because of the injuries to guys like Wallman? But do you think the structure is better, or they've made tweaks that have improved the team?
Well, they've changed a little bit of their defensive structure. I'm not sure that was Coffey, though, because he came in late, right? They were already practicing that before he arrived. So, I think the head coach realized we need to collapse down low a little bit more. They want to protect giving up slot shots. And that's what they've done. Coffey, I think, is more of a mental help for this team in how he talks to players, which I think is a major part of coaching, right? So, the Oilers have tweaked the defensive structure a little bit. That helps, but it's not like it's led to a massive reduction in goals against, right? Like they're still giving up too many goals. So, for a variety of different reasons, right? Like you give up a shorthanded goal, it's a 5-on-3, you don't score, and then Kucherov comes out of the box and Moser hits him on a long bomb pass, and it's a shorthanded goal. Like that's not really coaching in that part. Like there's nothing there. That's a player decision, right? Like, when you come in on a rush 5-on-3 on a power play, why are you attacking two defensemen by McDavid? Like to me, that was a frustration play from your captain that led to the turnover, right? Like you don't need to attack right at the middle of the defense when it's a 5-on-3. That's not how you enter the zone. So, the Oilers, to me, the biggest thing I've noticed in Edmonton is the frustration is mounting. I think McDavid's post-game comments are illustrative of that. It's very honest, right? It's a pillow fight division right now, which is true. The Oilers haven't barely landed any shots in a pillow fight division, never mind in a real division, because they can't win 3 in a row. They can't play consistent enough. They'll have the odd game, like last week. Vegas and Colorado was pretty good, and then you know what? They come back and they start at the homestand pretty good, and then they lay 2 eggs. Although they didn't really lay an egg against Tampa. I thought it was a close game that turned on that shorthanded goal. Bouchard's point shot goes in and doesn't have the crossbar. It's 2-2, and maybe we're talking different. But I didn't like the Florida game at all, Al. And I do sense a frustration. Like there is high expectations within the organization, no question. And if they don't win at least 2 rounds of the playoffs, and that might not be enough, that I think there's a very real chance of significant change in the offseason.
I think that's fair. Jari starts on the road one of the games, right?
Yeah, I would think so. I wouldn't be surprised if he starts in Utah, to be honest. You've got Vegas and Anaheim. Those are divisional games or teams you're battling with head to head. Utah, the way you're playing them is if you win the division, right? Most likely. Although Nashville, the way they're going, heck, they might catch Utah. We'll see. But that's where I would start. As I said last week, I thought the Utah game is where Jari would play. And, I guess he could play in Vegas because Ingram, it's his former organization in Utah. So maybe he wants that game, right? Like there is that aspect I can't overlook. So, but yeah, I would think he'd get one of the 2 games. At some point, like you can't play your starter every game. So you can't play Jari.
All right. What's coming up on the show?
Well, Woodley will join us. Talk about Utah's goaltending. Lots of goaltending questions. Like there's lots of teams around the league that, they're kind of switching goalies, which is great. But if you don't have one, do you have any? Now, that's always a debate, and I think it's a fun debate. So we'll get into that with Woodley. We'll talk about the orders and just, the big picture here of what's necessary for this team and why. Like you got 11 games you can salvage a season in the 11 games, and more importantly in the playoffs, right? And that's got to be their focus. But I'm starting to see the frustration. I think it's getting a little bit higher, Al. So we'll dive into that more. Obviously, we'll touch a little bit on the NCAA and really look around the NHL. There's only one game in the NHL tonight, but it's a massive game if you're the Ottawa Senators. So we'll look at the schedule this week, Al, because the schedule makers, like you look at Nashville, they're really battling Pacific Division for a playoff spot right now. And guess what? They play San Jose 3 times down the stretch. They play the Ducks twice. They play the Kings twice. It's almost like they're in the Pacific Division, for goodness sakes. So the schedule maker, in a weird way, got that one right, too, with Nashville.
Beautiful. Thanks. Appreciate it.
Have a good one, Al.
There you go. Jason Gregor. He'll be live on the radio at 2 o'clock today. Wanted to pass this along. DD and Strathmore. Lowetide, when the Oilers miss the playoffs, and they will, I'd rather trade the problems in the offseason, even if that means saying goodbye to the core players, and build a team that can actually play a full 60 minutes on both ends of the ice and wins next season, than keep this current iteration and continue to lose. I don't think the other winning markets in the NHL are crying every night because McDavid isn't wearing their jersey, DD and Strathmore. That's true. But you've got to decide, let's take Nurse. We were talking about Nurse earlier. Ekholm's 35? Wallman is younger, signed long-term, but not playing well. And Nurse is, he can play. His ability to recover and to go out for another shift is phenomenal. And I know many of you will say, well, maybe they should cut him back a little bit. And I get that too. But the decisions you make to move players is extremely limited because of the no movement clause. And you don't want to move the young players who are playing well. I honestly, I think the best thing that could happen to the Edmonton Oilers is that somehow over the next several weeks, Tristan Jarry finds his game and plays well enough that they can reject Jason Gregor next year's team, which they have to do because, trading him would involve, giving up even more young assets. They don't have enough as it is. They're in a spot of bother. They really are. And we'll see how it goes. But no matter what happens, there's going to be some tough decisions made this summer. James from the Hood. Bowman also got rid of the wrong defenseman. Losing Kulak is a big blow. Giving away Stetcher for nothing was extremely stupid on Bowman's part. Kulak always steps up at the end of the season in playoffs. Very bad asset management by Bowman and Jackson. Thoughts? Well, I still like Alec Regula. He's playing well in Bakersfield, and I think he's a next year guy unless there's injury. But I wouldn't give up on that. I absolutely think that looking back, Kulak had an injury issue because his foot speed was way off, according to NHL Edge, and now it's recovered. So I think he was not 100%. I like Wallman. I certainly like Murphy, what I've seen of him so far. I think the Oilers' assessment of defensemen has been correct. The problem is Kulak had what is now known to be a short-term injury and recovered. And Stetcher was lost on waivers, and you didn't want that because he's the one guy who could play well with Nurse. But whether or not you trust him on the second pair is another matter. They did in the finals, and they ended up moving off of that. So these are tough choices. I like Emberson. I will tell you that the right side defense the Oilers have now, Evan Bouchard, Murphy, and Emberson, I like them. I think that's a good combo. I think you can go to war with that group and go to the playoffs with them. Emberson probably can't play a feature role, but he's effective and he could step in for a game or two on the second pair. I think that's a fair assessment of Ty Emberson. He's improved this year. He's better than he was last year. All right, 1:35 on the way. Declinations. Declan has a variety of thoughts, and he's going to talk about all of them next. Lowdown with Lowetide on Sports 1440 and YouTube.
It's Truck Month at Wolf GMC Buick, and we know trucks. And we have the best deals of the year right now. Some have 0% for 4 years. We have 0% for 6 years. That's on our #1 selling GMC Sierra half-ton crew cab, or the Elevation, the AT4, or Denali. Yep, 0% for 72 months. And Costco members get an extra discount on some of our SUVs. Pop in today and drive away smiling. Wolf GMC Buick. We're making it easy.
Actions speak louder than words. Japa Machinery Group puts your construction plan into action with XCMG construction machinery you need. Available for rental or sale. Learn more at japamachinery.com.
This is your moment to come on down and play for your chance to win over $300,000 in prizes. That's not all. Buy more, save more on select major appliances. Up to $1,000 off. Save up to 40% on select mattresses and up to 25% on furniture. Plus, this Saturday, play for up to $1,000 off your purchase. Everyone who plays is a winner. See in-store for details. The Brick, saving you more.
You matter. Your mental health matters, and you're braver than you think.
Not Alone is an organization focused on creating a space of acceptance and support through tough, meaningful conversation. Use code 1440 for 15% off at notalonecode.com. It's okay to not be okay.
When my husband and I said until death do us part, I never expected to find myself at the doorstep of divorce. I was facing an uncertain financial future, expensive lawyer bills, and most importantly, I was concerned for the well-being of my kids. My spouse and I turned to Fairway Divorce Solutions for help. Fairway walked us through a step-by-step process, allowing us to develop a clear roadmap to resolve financial concerns and provide a proactive co-parenting strategy. It helped us avoid chaos and courtrooms.
For a no-cost consultation, visit fairwaydivorce.com.
Legacy Heating and Cooling offers no payments and no interest for 1 year on your new furnace. So, when you wake up to no heat, call Legacy. Call Legacy. If you need it immediately with no overtime rates. If you need it immediately and want to combo it with AC. Call Legacy. Call Legacy. No payments and no interest for 1 year on your new furnace. It could only be Legacy Heating and Cooling.
Wondering what you can afford? Let Go Auto do the math with our free car loan calculator. No pressure, no awkward convos, just quick answers on your budget and payments. Bad credit? No credit? We got you. Text CHECK to 780-777-7777. That's CHECK to 780 all sevens. Find out what you qualify for and start shopping with confidence. Go Auto. Drive what you love with payments that make sense.
Hey, Gary, is that your dad?
No, this is Evan, the new sales rep I hired.
Oh.
First impressions matter, but when hair loss takes over, it can feel like you're not being seen for the maverick you truly are. Hi, I'm Dr. Vance Elliott. At Advanced Hair and Skin Surgery, we know that hair loss is more than just a cosmetic issue. It's personal. Let's discuss all the cutting-edge options available so you can make a great impression every time.
Book a free consultation today at drvanceelliott.com.
Whoa, I gotta put some money on the game tonight. We hit our monthly budget. Whoa, how did you get in here? I'm you, the responsible you. We're right. We'll play another time. Sounds more like us.
If you gamble, use your game sense. Visit GameSenseAB.ca.
Here's the Lowdown with Lowetide on Sports 1440.
Presented by Wolf GMC Buick. We're making it easy. WolfGMCBuick.com.
It's 1:40. This is the Lowdown on Sports 1440 for Wolf GMC Buick. A beautiful day in Alberta. Blue skies, sunshine. Oh, my. I mean, it's a little cold, but we can take it. We're tough. Time for Declinations, brought to you by Fairway Divorce Solutions. The clear road to a new life. There is a better way. Fairwaydivorce.com. Young Declan.
Discuss. Where do we start? I'll give a quick little shout out to the MMA world. Lerone Murphy, he lost to Mosfar Ivoyev this past weekend at UFC London. Mosfar should have fought for the title a long time ago. This was a title eliminator. Looks like he's going to do it now. Well-deserved. UFC this coming weekend. Israel Adesanya, my all-time favorite fighter, but I wish he would retire. He's taking on Joe Pfeiffer in Seattle. So very cool stuff.
That is awful when you know a fighter should quit and they won't do it.
Oh, it's the worst. Yeah, I've been calling for it for a couple fights now. Love him to death. Flew out to Vegas one time by myself and saw him fight live, which was awesome. Shows how much I love this guy. But probably time to hang it up. No, I just wanted to, kind of go around, talk some stuff that, hadn't had a chance to talk. But first of all, in regard to that last texter's point about Brett Kulak, I don't disagree with anything he said. I don't disagree with anything you said about the injury, but he was horrible. He was beyond terrible. You know what I mean? Injury, sure, but it's like we can't act like that was a bad move at the time. You know what I mean? Like
that's part of the problem with the cap, because if a guy's injured and you have the room, you might put him on injured reserve and call somebody up.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, no, okay. I guess the tournament I hate monologuing. I do so much better in a back and forth segment, but I'll do my best here. The tournament, like it's just the worst. Like I don't prep to monologue. You know what I mean? I prep to go back and.
May I just tell you one thing?
Yeah,
that's been my whole radio career. I would much rather have somebody riff with me and call me out so I can defend myself. It's just easier to do.
No, because you obviously monologue very well. That kind of goes without saying, but like I never like I always do better in like the back and forth kind of a situation. So when I just sit here, like, and I think it's also a point of.
Do you want Mackenzie and I to heckle you?
No,
I think
that'd
Mackenzie's
be way
quite
worse.
good.
I do have stuff to say. My point is just like it also comes from a bit of a place of vanity. I think I'm just sitting here talking, and my mind always kind of plays tricks on me, like shut up, Declan. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, you see, that's a youth thing. You get to be my age and you just don't care. You just
valid.
Talk. To hell with everybody. What's this you're charging for pepper? Stuff like that.
I do want to talk about the tournament a little bit here because like this round of 32 has been like we've been watching incredible basketball. I think sometimes people, see the tournament and they see a stat that comes out like no 13 through 16 seed has won a game the last 2 years, and there's kind of the lack of upsets and stuff. But like we are watching tremendous basketball. Like the Vandy Arkansas game was incredible. The Iowa-Florida game was incredible. The Kansas-St. John's game was incredible. Texas-Gonzaga. And hey, how about Texas being in the Sweet 16 as an 11 seed? Iowa, they obviously get the win over Florida as a 9 seed. I mean, the UCLA-UConn game was great for a little while. Like we are watching really, really high-level stuff. And like I said, I think sometimes people, they just don't watch the games all year, obviously, which isn't that uncommon. And then they just make a bracket and they don't really watch the games during the tournament and check the bracket, don't see upsets, think it's a bad tournament or something. But I watched college basketball all day for the last 4 days in a row. Like I didn't do anything. My brain was basketball mush. And it was just like incredible stuff, like back and forth. I didn't even mention the Wisconsin High Point upset, but the Arkansas High Point game. Like it's just what a tournament it has been. And I'll hand up, tournament wasn't great last year, but what we've seen this year has been really, really special stuff. No replies from anyone? All right, Mackenzie's got one.
All right. That video that we did, and I asked you who was the most vulnerable 1 seed.
It's true.
And you were correct in your assessment of Florida. So I was really happy because I didn't take Florida, I think, past the Sweet 16.
Yeah, I like Florida. There's also a stat actually that since 2007, I think it is, no defending champion has got past the Sweet 16 with the exception of UConn, the year they went back to back. But yeah, this Florida team, like they were just vulnerable all year. Their backcourt wouldn't shoot it well. They were really good at their top end ability, but it's just it was tough.
I have a question.
Yeah.
I'm assuming all three of you have brackets that are still alive.
I mean, yeah, my national champion's alive.
Yeah, alive in what sense?
That you haven't had any mistakes yet.
Oh,
no, we've all had mistakes.
You said you were doing research, and if you were doing research, you should have been able to.
No amount of research in the world could have accounted for Iowa's shot last night.
That's valid. Also, like the mathematical improv, like it's
1 in 5 quintillion.
9.2 quintillion. Actually.
There we go. Okay,
which I actually think that number's a little bit generous because that would account for like every 16 winning and every 15. Like that mathematical probability is probably closer to 0 than anything. But it
could happen.
Like mathematically it could, but it couldn't.
But
it just wouldn't.
You feel joy that you spent time filling it out, not regret.
Oh yeah. Okay. It's fun to do.
Is it?
Yeah, it's super fun. Like it's honestly what I look forward to all year. Like I'll never let anyone yuck my yum. Like I love the tournament so much. I love filling out the brackets. I love paying attention all year.
I have one more question.
Yeah.
Would you consider next year you could stay at your house?
Yeah, I'm gonna take next year off.
Okay, but hear me out. You could stay at your house and you could there would be a wide camera showing you in your shorts and maybe your robe, and you'd have to keep your robe closed because we wanted to keep a family rating. But we could just watch you watch the basketball, and then we might have a live mic when you can yell and
all
scream.
the Bud Light apple you can drink,
like a Twitch stream,
right?
idea.
And then
I
once in a
would love
while,
that.
we might call you, just hey, you could go over to the camera and talk, during periods.
Yeah,
of time.
I don't know who would watch it or who would care.
Oh no,
like,
but
I'll
we
definitely-
would monitor you, and then we'd play the best stuff here on the show.
We could cut in during the show.
Yeah.
When there's like a crazy
We could run that on the
shot or
Twitch channel.
something.
I
Yeah.
think he's over getting his apple juice and
Yeah.
tuna sandwich. We could do that.
Yeah. I know when
Uber Eats and whatever.
football season is in full swing and Barstool, they have the gambling cave, and there's a crazy something bad happens in an Eagles game. I immediately go to the stream to watch Max and his reaction, because my reactions are fairly similar to his.
It's valid.
Well, I'm just saying for next year. Anyway, go ahead. I just keep it in mind. Video, your place, robe, underwear, tuna, oatmeal.
We'll think about it. The other thing I wanted to talk about is I wanted to give some shine to Nikita Kucherov. No, but I mean seriously,
I'm
like
coming
this
over
guy's check this stat out, Lowetide. Because I got a couple Cooch stats here that are incredible. Over the last 5 seasons, he's more likely to have a 3-point game than a 0-point game. 78 3-point games, 66 0-point games. That's over the last 5 years.
Wow.
He also it obviously ended when they played Calgary, but he had 5 consecutive road games with 3 points. That had only been done 3 other times in history, twice by Lemieux, once by Gretzky. He also, this run he was on, 93 points in 45 games, the most by a player over a 45 game span since Lemieux in 95-96.
That's amazing.
Like, we're really watching something historic. And you look at the numbers here. He's obviously taking the lead in the R. Ross race. I think he's probably going to win that. But check this out per 60 at 5-on-5. Connor McDavid, best player in the world, right? Or maybe it is a debate now, but my point being, Connor McDavid, just an all-time generational player, his points per 60 at 5-on-5, 3.1. Nikita Kucherov is at 4.8,
which is that. I'd have to check that against history, but that might be the best.
No, it's at per 60 at all situations. He's 5.4. Like, his assists per 60 are 2.994, essentially 3. Connor McDavid, for reference again, is 1.9. Like, it's just the things these guys are doing. And we talk about Nikita Kucherov a lot, and we don't I feel like he never gets brought up in the conversation as much as Nathan McKinnon and Connor McDavid, because he started his career a little bit slow. He missed a year. He's never been a 50 goal scorer. He wasn't born in Burnaby, Ontario with the name John Smith. But we're really watching a guy who is on an all-time historic run. And I just wanted to highlight that a little bit, because it is unbelievable.
Yeah, and it's just a fact. It's a North American league, and Yari Curry got bit by it, and so will Kucherov. Even though he's won some awards, he'll get overlooked in some things that he should have won.
He should win the Hart this year, I would think.
How many would that be for him?
He'd be his second
in the heart of the era of McKinnon, McDavid, Draisaitl.
Yeah. And
it's impressive.
I think it probably should be his third, truthfully. I thought he should have won it in 24 as well.
No.
So I'm just saying, we're watching.
But you really go to bat for him, don't you? Comrade.
No, I know, Comrade Krueger. It's pretty weird, isn't it? And the thing is, I don't even know what it is. I just think I don't even know why I go to bat for him so hard, because I honestly do, and I can't really reckon why. I think it's honestly just because I've always appreciated greatness, and I really think his is underrated. I truly think we don't appreciate it enough, what he does.
Declan, you do this for all of your favorite players. What about Jimmy? Jimmy is a star of this show, and only because of you.
Yeah, but
I don't bring Jimmy up. You bring Jimmy.
Yeah, but I'm
up.
also a little bit more realistic about Jimmy. I know Jimmy is probably
love
never
Jimmy.
Gonna, yeah, no, I do.
Anybody who listens to this show knows that Jimmy has the personality on this show that you've created, and it's the same with Kucherov.
Yeah, but Jimmy and Kuch are different. Kuch is a legitimate is an all-time player.
Jimmy's down right now.
You know why he goes to bat for Kuch so hard?
What?
There's a perfect example of this. The season that Connor McDavid had 100 assists,
he did
Kucherov also had 100 assists.
Not only did he have 100 assists, he actually did it faster and with more goals as a winger. And we didn't talk about it.
And everyone was like, "Oh, Connor McDavid, is he going to get to 100? Is he going to get to 100?" And then Kuch just blew him out of the water.
But wait a minute.
That's what it was. And he got no coverage.
But Connor McDavid's from Greater Toronto.
Exactly. That's what we're saying is Kuch did it better and faster.
And I got another cool stat really quickly. So in Connor's 5 Art Ross winning seasons, Cooch played in 4 of them. He missed one with injury, but he played in 4 of them. In 3 of them, he had a better points per 60. In 3 of them, he had a better goals per 60. And in 3 of them, he had a better assists per 60. And then in his 2 Art Ross winning years, he also had a better goals per 60, assists per 60, points per 60 than like, I'm just saying, this guy is crazy. We don't really talk about it.
No, he's very good. And he's not a center, but he's a great player, and his teams win, and not a lot else you can say. That's for sure. You may need an escort to your car after all that, but that's okay.
Is Kucherov better than McDavid? Because the stats we're talking about right now, like it kind of leaves the door open for an argument.
My thing is this, like it'd be tough to argue against it.
Yeah.
We're not helping the young man. All right. I enjoyed today.
Make the argument against me and email me, Declan Sports 14-4. I'm just saying.
Well, maybe we can talk about it tomorrow when Donovan is here. He loves talking about Cooch with you. So, all right. Thanks so much for tuning into the Lowdown. We'll have more hilarity and jocularity tomorrow. Jason Gregor on the way. Please enjoy your day.
Brought to you by Sean Cunningham of Remax Real Estate. Get the home team advantage for your next move in the Edmonton area. If you're thinking about buying or selling a home, call or text Sean directly, 780-265-0165. Edmonton Oilers news, of course, McDavid did leave practice with the trainers. Hip and groin issues, but should be fine and good to go. Toronto Blue Jays extending GM Ross Atkins on a 5-year deal and manager John Schneider on a 2-year deal. Seahawks, a record extension with Jackson Smith and Jigba, 4 years, $166 million. And Travis Kelce signing a 3-year, $54.735 million deal with the Kansas City Chiefs. NHL action today. It all gets going at 5:30 with the lone game on the ice, Ottawa Senators and New York Rangers. In the NBA, action gets going at 5 o'clock. Los Angeles Lakers and Pistons, Pacers and Magic, Thunder and 76ers, Spurs and Heat. Late games, we'll see the Brooklyn Nets in Portland and Milwaukee and LA to take on the Clippers. I'm Declan Krueger. This has been a Sports 1440 update.